Hi everyone, and welcome to Disc Golf Valley Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to be taking a look at Frozen Valley. And if you've been playing this course, you have probably discovered that there are some challenging holes on this one. So let's take a look. The first one is fairly easy, especially if you have picked up a few discs along the way. The ones that we're working with in this Jump Start series that we're doing, we purchased some and we've acquired some along the way. This is what our bag looks like right now. We're going to be using the Windbreak Rive quite a bit, as well as the Ballista that we picked up a few courses back. The Zeus is going to be very important on this course, or any distance driver with a good skip will work. But if you haven't gotten a good distance driver with a skip yet, you may want to find some way of acquiring one before you try your 3 stars on this particular course. But let's take a look. I think for this first one, we'll go with our beach ball. That's what I've been affectionately calling it, the Beach Ball Rive. And this one works pretty good to get us to the basket. In fact, it doesn't get much better than that. Oh, that wasn't even a tap in. We're going to have to toss this. But that seems to be the best line on this hole. Some people like to come around with a forehand, but I don't know. I find that it can be more, let's maybe use the same disc, a little bit more troublesome than it's worth. You know, you can hit a tree, actually even get into the lake here, and just doesn't seem to get as close to the basket as the other approach. So I would recommend the first line, but either works. Let's carry on. All right, hole number 2. And I think most players would agree that this is the most difficult hole in the game to get your birdie. But let's see what we can do today. Let's start with our beach ball again. I think that kind of is the best disc for a start. If you have another Rive with a roll attribute that also works, you know, the extra glide works here. But this one does pretty good, and usually just put just a hair of a hyzer on this for the send-off so that it drifts off to the right before swinging back. And that sets you up nice for your next shot, and I'll usually pull out the Zeus for the second shot. Now the Zeus has quite the tendency to turn, or I guess in this case fade. So what you want to do is put just a little bit of an anhyzer on this so that when it comes back it doesn't bounce off into the forest. Well, like that, it still did. So we could have put a little bit more on, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be able to sneak through here. Let's maybe go for the Ballista here. Plow through this bush. I don't know. That did slow us down quite a bit. But we should still be okay. Oh, we made it in. I thought it was going to hit the rim. All right, so you can see that a birdie is possible. Let's play it one more time and point it right about there. A little bit of a hyzer, or anhyzer, I should say. And this is lining up a little better this time. And would have to be right behind a bush here. But I think if we just point in this direction, but put quite a bit of an anhyzer on that, we should be okay. And again, because we're going uphill, especially if we put a forehand on this, the grace will probably be about the right distance. And then we just throw it in for our birdie. So you can see that birdies are possible, and you really do want to pick up a birdie here. If you don't, I'd probably reset. If you're going for your 3 stars, probably reset and play it again until you do get a birdie on hole 2 before you go forward. Because you may find it difficult to find anywhere along the way that you can get an eagle to compensate for your par here. All right, hole number 3. And this may be a chance where you can get an eagle. And if you have the right conditions, the right wind conditions, it's probably a good idea to go for it. Try it, because that would be a big help in your 3-star run to have an eagle. And here's a chance where you can do that. So let's show you how you can do that. With the Zeus, bring it to a backhand, point it to about here. And this really only works on some wind conditions. And this one may not work, but let's try it. Put a bit, quite a bit of an anhyzer on this. Have it go way off to the right, but then start swinging around and bounce about here and come around. And leave you in a pretty good position to get the eagle with your throw in. Doesn't always happen, but you can see that it is possible. Let's do it again. Well, that left us quite a ways back, but again, we can go for our birdie. I wouldn't run the disc at this point unless this is your first hole on a daily. Just lay up. Because there's no backstop and you're in the lake and you end up with a bogey. Okay, let's try this one more time with the Zeus, the backhand, and off with an anhyzer. Skip in. And this time we will pull it down just a little more. Sure what happened last time. That's more like it for an eagle. All right, hole number 4. And this can be a very challenging hole for new players as well. I remember when I first started playing, getting many double, triple bogeys on this one. But there are ways of not only getting birdies, but also eagles on this hole. So let's take a look at both. Let's first of all start with a good line to get a fairly easy, let's take the ballista, a fairly easy birdie. Just slide over and put your pointer about there. And with this wind, probably a bit of an anhyzer on this. And we just want that disc to come around to the other side here. And then from here we can turn around and let's say with our, even the PD would work here, especially in this 3 wind. And just point it right about there, pull straight back. And that should come in nicely for a toss-in. Well, that's an eagle, but need to show you a little bit more elegant approach here. It's okay when the wind is coming at you more, because even if the disc slows down, it's still going to slide across that ice, and we should be okay. Yeah, that's more like what we want to see for our eagle. So, like I say, risk reward, but you might want to practice that, especially for the times when this hole is number one on a daily, and you can play it over and over again until you get it. All right, this hole, actually, with our Zeus, this actually has become another chance for an eagle. Put it somewhere like about here, and put about a half of an anhyzer on that. Not quite half, but have it swing around, and if it gets a nice bounce, now that was not a good bounce, but if it gets enough bounce, you get close to the hill there, and you can see the basket and often get it. In this case, we'll just have to do a little bit of a run for a birdie. Let's try it again, see if we can't get that eagle. Yeah, that's more like what we like to see. Now we might be behind a tree here. I think we can still see it pretty good. And then we'll go for our fuse. And there you go, another eagle. So it is possible. This is a frustrating hole for new players. It looks easy enough, right? Just 116 meters onto an island, and shouldn't be a problem. But I remember trying so many discs, trying to figure this one out, and if you do end up out of bounds and you take the lie, it sends you so far away from the basket with a difficult return to run to the basket, because you run the risk of going in the lake again. And so you can easily end up with a double bogey on this as you first start playing this course. But there's quite a simple approach here. The PD works, or any musket with a roll attribute is a safe play on this. Put your pointer right about here, and put just a little bit of an anhyzer on that and let it drift back and fall right next to the basket. Of course, it goes in the lake. Let me show you what I mean here about what happens if you move to lie. You come so far back here, and you don't really want to run it because there's such a chance, a 50-50 chance or more, that you'll miss the basket and go into the lake again. So you pretty much have to lay up here and take, what is it? I think a bogey. So let's do this again. Let me put our pointer over a little bit more, maybe a little bit more of an anhyzer, because even if you don't come around to the basket, it's a fairly easy toss in from whatever landing, but this is more like what you're looking for. nice easy toss in for a birdie. Just to show you that that is a consistent play, let's do it again. This time the wind is in the opposite direction, so we might put just a little bit more of an anhyzer on that. But comes back around and still within good throwing distance, only 12 meters. I might just change it to the backhand here and get our birdie that way. All right, despite our first bad attempt there, we got it to work out. Okay, the ballista ball works here nicely as well. And I don't know if you noticed how I did pull that down a little bit, down to about kind of the change in the crest of the snow there. And just a little bit of a hyzer on that. And the beach ball Rive wins again. Nice layup to the basket. In my other account the other day, I rearranged my bag to include this Rive, even though I have a Rive Extra Glide that I did keep in the basket, because I know there are some holes that I have just come to appreciate how that one goes. But I'm including this beach ball Rive now in my other bag, because I like it so much. Once again, the beach ball Rive actually has a chance at an ace here. But even if you don't get the ace, it lands so nicely here by the basket. So the play for the ace is somewhere right about here. No. But you see that it doesn't drift off very far, so you have an easy comeback for your birdie. Try it one more time, see if we can't get that ace. 3 wind, huh? I put a bit more of an anhyzer. You have to be careful not to put too much, or you'll go be drifting off and down the hill. But in this wind, we should be okay. Well, not even close to an ace, but trust me, it is possible with this disc. I have done it. All right, last hole. And this is another one. Because it has a Mando, it's a little difficult to get your eagle on this. And it's probably better to play it safe and just go for the birdie. But I've found that with the Zeus, you can point it up about here, and then depending on your wind, there's a chance you can get around that Mando. Nope. But if you do get it around that Mando, you can see where you can pick up the eagle. Let's try it again. So pointing it up at that tree that's against the wall there, and then in this wind, probably could get away with just pulling it straight back, but just to be safe, we'll put a hair of a anhyzer on that. And the idea is just to get around that Mando and hopefully get a skip where you don't hit a tree. But even if you do hit a tree or a post or something like that, you can still get an easy birdie on this. And so we'll go for a forehand and probably Could even use the fuse, but maybe we'll go for our 7 here. Just have that come around, lay up to the basket, and get your birdie. But we'll play it one more time and see if we can't get that eagle. All right, go for the Zeus. Line it up at that tree. Put quite a bit of an anhyzer on it because of the wind. Get around that Mando. Well, that leaves us with quite a tester shot here. But in it goes. So there you go, a nice eagle. Well, there you have it, our practice or walkthrough of Frozen Valley. Hope you were able to pick up a few pointers there on how you can get your birdies and your eagles as you go for your 3-star run. And speaking of 3-star runs, that's what's coming up next. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time here at Disc Golf Valley Tips and Tricks. So long for today.